Hi, everybody, and welcome to Backstage Business, a community for digital media entrepreneurs. My guest today is Jacob Tell. Jacob is the co-founder and CEO of Oniracom, which provides a full line of digital services to artists, labels, and management for some of the world's most successful entertainment properties, including Jack Johnson, Modest Yahoo, Disney Records. They've done amazing work for Ron White, The Wailers, Epitaph Records, and the list goes on and on. So, Jacob, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, John. I appreciate it.
So, Jacob, from what I understand, you founded Oniracom back in 2001. Can you give us a little bit of your background and why you found
Sure.
the need to start this company?
Absolutely. My co-founder Sean and I were in school. He was down at UCLA and I was up here at UC Santa Barbara, and we just decided, we didn't want to work for anyone. At the time, this was sort of post-dot-com bubble,
Hmm.
but pre-social web. So we got into web development. We became a web firm early on, and we were lucky enough to start working in film and then quickly music. You mentioned Jack Johnson. He quickly became one of our clients, being local to Santa Barbara, and we really grew alongside his music career as he became the number one male selling artist on iTunes, first artist on MySpace. That those kinds of experiences really helped us form relationships in the digital technology space and the music industry, and spiraled from there. We got a lot of other music clients and made relationships with the record labels and like the MySpaces and Facebooks and YouTubes of the time. And so we really grew with the landscape. And as things became more social and then obviously now more mobile, it's been our job to stay on the forefront of the technology and really be consultants and mentors for our clients to tell them how to leverage those technologies and how to engage with their audience in a positive way.
Yeah, yeah, cool, cool. Well, so and that brings up the question that there are a lot of great options out there for web design and development, and the tools are changing daily, practically.
Yeah.
I mean, just since 2001, I mean that's like light years, in how much technology has changed. And so it's often difficult for artists and entertainment professionals to know where to begin. So, what are the top three things that they should keep in mind? Artists and entertainment professionals, what should they be keeping in mind as they're looking to not only expand their online presence, but since we're talking about the business side of art here, monetize that increased exposure?
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost, these people are looking to build properties on the web, so they should go out on the web and start there and search around for, teams, firms, agencies that have done work that resonate with them in some way, whether that's that they've done work in the space that they're in, or they've done work with artists that are like-minded, or done work with causes that are similar. First find the work, and then once you get in touch with the team or the agency, make sure that the people that are talking to you, have a shared passion and a shared energy for what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I think that's really key, is that you get along with the team and that you guys share in the vision, client to service provider. They have to be on the same page. And then, once the work is actually done and the deliverables are shipped, in terms of monetization, you've got to have sort of that how do you measure your success plan. There's so many analytics tools and so much data out there. Make sure that the team, if you're not paying them directly to analyze your campaign or run analytics for you, make sure that you at least consult with them on the best practices on what to do and how to re-engage your audience once you've built them up. Because really, this is a cyclical thing now on the web.
Hmm.
You're not, gaining an audience and then saying, thanks for your money, thanks for buying my product, and then seeing them off. I mean, now you've engaged a lifelong relationship, hopefully, with these folks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, so going forward, I see the trend of talked about the data analytics, but we're seeing much faster broadband speeds coming down the pipeline, massive adoption of mobile, which the smartphones and tablets and so forth, these powerful audio and video editing apps and tools. plus the data analytics, it equals unprecedented opportunities to engage with a massive audience worldwide, and also a very targeted audience worldwide. We've seen this for a little while with YouTube, and now some really cool emerging companies like Topspin and SoundCloud is just killing it right now. But all of this is just getting started. It's easy for an artist or entertainment professional to kind of look around and say, oh, well, it's all been done, or the marketplace is too crowded. But again, all the convergence of all these trends, it's just getting started. So what advice would you give to artists and entrepreneurs on how to take advantage of these amazing tools, but do it in a way that actually feels good? Because I think that's really important, because these are just tools, but also that creates real connections, like you said, ongoing connections with their fans and with their clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're working with a team, make sure that team is passionate about the technology and the tools. If you aren't, a lot of the clients that come to us really, up front tell us, I don't know the first thing about the web, and I don't really want to learn too much about what's under the hood. Just tell me what are the bare minimums I need to know about these tools of how do I use Twitter? How do I use Instagram? What do I do on SoundCloud? How can I optimize my Topspin presence? But beyond that, I don't really want to know much. So fine, then if you don't want to know that, make sure you find folks that are passionate about the technology and the tools and have a deep understanding and knowledge of it. One benefit of a lot of agencies, including ours, including Oniracom, is that we have direct relationships with the technology vendors. So we work alongside Topspin, we work alongside SoundCloud, and there are several other teams out there that also do. And I think there's a big benefit in, if you guys come up with a really exciting, innovative campaign where you want to do some new data capture or some new contest using SoundCloud, that you're able to go back to SoundCloud and say, hey guys, this is what we're thinking. Do you have any advice for us? Do you have any latest and greatest API connections that we can leverage, or whatever new feature of the product that's maybe in beta that's not out yet? And a lot of times they'll help you with that campaign. And when you're doing the really cool, innovative things, maybe mashing up some kind of audio player on a Google map, or doing something really cool, oftentimes the companies want to know about that, and they'll help you pull off a successful campaign.
Yeah, that's great. Are there any pitfalls out there that, or mistakes that you're seeing artists and entertainment professionals making online? That you could help this audience avoid if they're listening in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's fun and cool to be early adopters of technology and apps and platform, but you got to be wary if you're going to be the super first early adopters, just to make sure that you really think through how you're going to leverage technology. If you're going to be second, third, or fourth to the game, you may not get that big feature on Mashable that says, hey, these guys were first to do this, but at the same time, you can learn from the previous campaigns of, okay, these guys were the first ones to do an Instagram thing. How can we tweak it? How can we do it better? Or how can we do it different? I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with trying to be first to use a technology, as long as it's really well thought through. And you're thinking about metrics and what you're trying to track from the beginning, and not trying to scramble at the end and go, okay, now what do we do with this data? We just ran a campaign, and how do we measure if this was successful or not? So really trying to, what we call, front load the project and work on the definition of the project up front as well. And that includes everything of like, what metrics are we tracking and what will determine if this is a success.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because on the flip side of getting featured on Mashable for being an early adopter, you could also be featured as somebody that made a big mistake, or just did something wrong, or tweeted something weird, and you're just trying to figure out the technology, and now you've kind of shot yourself in the foot. So
yeah,
I think it's good to be conscientious of that.
In terms of social messaging too, like you brought up, you got to be really careful how many cooks are in the kitchen, who has access to their Twitter or Instagram or Facebook accounts, because oftentimes you get an agency that may not be quite on message with the artist, or you get a manager who thinks they're doing right by helping their artist, but they're in a completely different voice, and they're not being transparent to the audience, saying, hey, this is the manager on behalf of the artist. saying this, and people can get really turned off by that kind of thing. So on the messaging end too, you got to be wary and make sure that that's really front loaded and planned out. And here are the points that we want to message. Here's the timeline in which we'll pull this off. We can like pepper in some other organic messaging from the band or the brand alongside that timeline. But here's really the key pieces of information that we need to get out on the timeline.
So that's what you do at Oniracom is kind of get everybody on the same page up front about the potentials, what defines success, and the tools that you're going to use to engage. Because obviously the tools change, but some people do really, really well on Twitter, and some just don't. And then it looks like, oh well, where are they? They're they tweeted once or twice, and I haven't seen them since 2010.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I think another big part of that is planning out partnerships. That can be both on the PR side, if maybe your publicist or someone in your circle does have a direct connection to a TechCrunch or Mashable or some other blog. Great, then you can line that up ahead of time. Saying, hey, this is our plan. We're going to release it on this date. We'd love a little write up. And then on the technology partner side, maybe if you're working with Topspin or SoundCloud or someone, they are very accessible. Reach out and say, hey, we're going to do this. It's going to launch on this time. Can we use you in our messaging? Can we reference, at SoundCloud in our tweets and say, we're very grateful to be working with at SoundCloud on this campaign. Check it out next week when we launch. Those kinds of things are great. It adds to the story. It adds something that the fans can help them retell the story, saying, hey, these guys are working directly with SoundCloud to release their next album or to release a film or a book or whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah, and I can imagine it generates a lot of goodwill on behalf of these companies because you're advertising for them as well. So.
Absolutely, they want to see cool implementations of their products. They're not. Sometimes they can be in the product development bubble, and it's cool for them to realize from the outside how people are leveraging their technology and platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So if somebody in the audience wants to work with Oniracom and hire you for consulting work or development work, or just talk about what's going on in the industry, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, we're very accessible. We don't have a when you call our office, it's a human that picks up. We don't have one of those press 1 for this and press 2 for that systems.
That's awesome.
We respond to email in a very timely fashion. We take it very seriously. When any band or brand reaches out, large or small, we want to have a conversation. Even if they don't end up hiring us for a service, maybe we can point them in the right direction. We have a lot of partners, even for the smaller end campaigns that we can refer. And so, we'll definitely give it our best to make a match. If it's not us, it'll be someone else.
Yeah, awesome. And as I mentioned before we started this call, I found out about Oniracom just through the work that you do. I saw the marketing piece that you did for Modest Yahoo, the Live at Stubbs, and said, this is fantastic. Who did it? And that's how I tracked you down. So, I'm excited to have you on here, and I do encourage everybody to go check out oniracom.com and click around, take a look at their portfolio, and give them a call. So, Jacob, cool. It's been an honor having you on here, and I hope to have you on again. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. Please be sure to go to facebook.com/backstagebusiness and become a fan of the show on Facebook. And again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, Jacob.
Thanks, John. I really appreciate your time.